Hey everyone, in this video I want to walk you through how to develop a crippling work addiction, how to make work so fun and so interesting and so exciting that it's all you want to do. I will preface this video and I will warn you, I'm going to show you how I've done this, and I'm going to show you how I've basically made work the center of my life and how I've developed a genuine crippling addiction for it. So I want to kind of explain, first of all, what it actually means to have a work addiction from someone who actually has one and who's intentionally developed one. I'm going to give you a whole protocol in a second on how to develop a work addiction so you can just basically make hard things really easy. But before I do that, let me just give you a couple of little warnings. First of all, the consequence of this is you're going to want to work all the time. It's going to get in the way of your personal relationships. It's going to get in the way of your social life. It's even going to get in the way of your family and other things that you feel are important to you. And like any addiction, whether it's heroin or drugs or alcohol, it can become consuming and it can have negative impacts elsewhere in your life. So this video is for people who want to get extremely quick and fast commercial results. If you want to get rich really quickly, build a really successful business, outcompete everyone, the only real way to do those things is to develop a serious addiction for work. And so, I'm going to talk about my experience with developing a genuine clinical work addiction and how you can do the same thing and do it intentionally. The only addiction I would ever want to have in life is work. I've been addicted to video games before, I've been addicted to junk food before and all sorts of other vices in the past, and I've been able to completely shed myself of all of those addictions. But the thing about shedding yourself of an addiction and removing an addiction from your life is it's energy, and you need to replace that addiction elsewhere. And think about this, when you have an addiction, a part of you or a piece of you is receiving something because of that addiction. And it's an outlet, it's a way for you to get something, whether it's dopaminergic reward, serotonin boosts, or the sort of repetition of comfort or numbing yourself or denying yourself of something. All addictions are very, very, very complex things. But when you remove an addiction, the energy supporting the behavior that caused the addiction to happen has to go somewhere, has to be redirected. And so what I've been doing really over the last decade is taking all of my addictions, all of my vices, all of my troubles, all my issues, and channeling all of them into one thing, which is my work. And when you do that year over year for basically 5 to 10 years, you become incredibly insatiable, and all you want to do is work. And it's still possible to have a healthy lifestyle. It's still possible to have friends and a relationship and a family life. It just means that those things won't be at the center of everything that you care about. Hey, I'm really sorry to cut in here because I hate sponsorship ads and mid-roll video promotions as much as you. But if you give me 30 seconds, I want to explain something called Imperium Academy. It's a completely free training program that I've built that basically explains how to achieve financial freedom in 6 weeks or less. I've made nearly $40 million online, and I've compiled everything I know about making money online into a 6-week program that walks you through step by step how to achieve financial freedom and earn 6 figures with an online business in 6 weeks or less. It's completely free. It works especially if you're a beginner with no previous business experience, and on top of that, if you have no money. So it's free. You can click the link in the description. There's no catch, no BS, no credit card required. Just click the link in the description, check it out now, and let's crack on with the video. All the successful people I know multimillionaires, 9-figure entrepreneurs, 8-figure entrepreneurs, I know billionaires, they all, without exception, they're all very, very addicted to their work. And to give you a case in point, right now, on my phone, it's 10:20 p.m. on a Thursday night, and I've already worked for probably 14 hours today, and I can't stop. I don't want to stop. Work isn't something for me that I have to drag myself to my desk to do. It's not something that feels bad. It's not something that feels negative. It's not something that even feels painful anymore. That's not entirely true. There's lots of pains associated with doing things that I don't want to do. But my point is that I'm just addicted. I can't get away from my office. I want to be in my office more than I want to be anywhere else. I was literally, it's 10:20 p.m. here. I don't know if you can see like the camera's flip, but it's late. I was watching a golf video and I was chilling out, and I had this like urge to make a YouTube video. And I had this, what I did is I had this urge to work. I had this urge to open Slack and start messing around with a few things. And then I thought, oh, that would be a good YouTube video. So here I am at nearly 11 p.m. On a Thursday making a YouTube video about how to get a work addiction. So I can show you how to do it, and I'm going to show you how to basically do this. But warnings, first of all, warnings. This is an addiction, okay? This is not something to be taken lightly. If you want to develop this, develop it at your own risk. It's not actually that hard to do. It's pretty straightforward. But please just know that this is a real clinical addiction. It can cause elevated stress. It can mess with your sleep at times. It can interfere with your personal relationships. It can leave you with very limited emotional capacity for emotional partners. It can cause you to want to get rid of different friends that aren't going to be good for your goal. But the upside to me, it far outweighs anything, because the status you get, the fame you get, the attention you get, the monetary goals you get, the ability to compete to win. Like, it's very hard to beat someone who has a crippling work addiction. So without further ado, the protocol is pretty straightforward. First of all, get rid of all your addictions. I know that's a blanket, easy way to say it, but I've got sort of 5 or 6 points I want to make here. But the very first one is realizing that in order for your work addiction to produce the best results, you need to take all of your other addictions you've got, all of your coping mechanisms, all of your trauma, coping mechanisms, whatever that is, whether it's vaping, whether it's smoking, whether it's drinking, whether it's gambling, whether it's porn, whether it's junk food, all of those addictions, get rid of them. And when you feel the impulse to behave the action out that was leading to the addiction, work. And what you need to learn to do over the next year is basically every 2 to 3 months, you want to tackle a new addiction. So this work addiction thing takes like a couple of years to build this, right? But the way you do it is you pick an addiction at the beginning and you get rid of it. You stop doing the behavior, the impulse that basically creates the behavior that feeds the loop of the addiction. Stop doing it. Let's say it's junk food, and you have a junk food addiction, and so every night at 7 p.m. you have this need to sort of binge eat. Instead of binge eating, go and work. And I know that at the beginning, this is going to seem really weird and very difficult to do because right now for your work is this really painful thing. But what you can do by just simply doing this is you can basically rewire your neurochemistry and rewire your brain to associate that impulse, that need to feel comforted or that need to feel numb or whatever it is you're doing with work. And what you can do if you do this basically with every impulse you get for about a year is you can sort of reroute your nervous system and your neurochemistry to basically seek comfort and numbness in work. And so all the existing addictions you have, I don't care if it's porn, I don't care if it's junk food, I don't care if it's smoking, I don't care if it's gambling, I don't care if it's drinking, or whatever it might be. You do them to feel a certain way. You do them to alleviate pressure in your life. You do them to alleviate pain. You do them to numb yourself. You do them to comfort yourself. And there's a whole myriad of things that you can get from these things. But if what you learn to do is take all those impulses, and every time the impulse is triggered, like you get the sort of, you get that sort of urge, it's like coming up. If you can just channel that into work, like if you associate this thing with feeling the need to feel comfort or numb or whatever it is, to then immediately in work, what will happen if you do that for a long enough period of time, like over a year, is your brain will literally rewire itself to associate work with that feeling that you get from being addicted. What that then does, and again, pre-warning, is it transmutates all of your emotional energy that was leading to your addictions and puts it onto work. And so work becomes the thing that you use to basically deal with and cope with stress, trauma, problems, etc., etc. What this can mean is when you have something bad that happens in your life, is you can go insular and you just find comfort in your laptop. It is by far and large the greatest productivity hack or guide that I've ever seen. And now if I'm like, if I find like something, if I find like a problem or some trouble or a struggle in life and I'm dealing with a hard time, all I want to do is work. And that's not always healthy because obviously when you have problems in life and things aren't going your way and you've got trauma still, you should talk about them and you should seek help from loved ones and you get a hug and cry about it and work through those things because you don't want these resentments building and these angers building. The second thing is having a massive vision and transcending yourself. So one way to become addicted to work is to see your work and to see your company or the thing you're working on in the same way that you'd see a video game. And what you want to almost do is gamify your progress and your trajectory. And so what you need to do is have a massive goal. This is the first step to becoming addicted to work, is have a huge goal, like a big one. Like not just like, I want to make 10K a month, and make 100K a month, like a big fucking goal. Like you want to make 100 million a year, or you want to have $500 million in your bank account. You want to have a $1 billion company. Like you won't necessarily think that these things are possible right now, but the easiest way for gamification to be structured is for you to have such a massive goal and to genuinely think that's what you want. And what happens when you have such a massive goal is all the little milestones you hit along the way aren't going to feel that satiating. So if your goal is to make 100 million a year and that's what you've set and you start making 10K a month, you're not going to stop. You're not going to get satiated by the 10K a month. What happens to most entrepreneurs is they have these small-time goals like making 10K a month, 50K a month, 100K a month. What happens after a year or two of grinding or work, or 3 years or 4 years of grinding, is they get that goal, and then because that was all they wanted, they stop working. And then they're left with this existential crisis on their hands. They're like, what the hell do I do now? Then they start buying Lamborghinis, they start going on yachts. The reason that I'm so focused on work, and the reason that I haven't caved into buying supercars, although I lived on the Palm in Dubai for a couple of years, which was a mistake, but the reason I haven't caved into a lifestyle of travel, of freedom, and all this shit, is because my goal is huge. I want $1 billion valuation. I want a company that's worth $1 billion. And so what that means is when I make $1 million in a month, it's nothing. It registers to me like it's nothing because if I'm playing RuneScape and my goal is to get to level 126 and I get to level 80 strength, it doesn't matter. It's so insignificant. And so one way to keep this addiction sort of flowing and going is to have a huge fucking goal and to have a goal where you think like, fuck, if I had that, if I achieved that, if I had like $1 billion in the bank or 100 million in the bank, or if I was able to basically buy the village that I grew up in or something, whatever weird niche goal you want to have, right? It makes it incredibly addictive because then these early rewards feel like early rewards. Let's say you want to make 10K a month, or let's say that 100K a month for you feels like a late game goal. That feels like the be all end all of your achievements. For someone like me, or for someone who's really successful, I'm not that successful yet, but for someone who's like mega successful, like billionaire, 100K a month for them is their early game. That's them just warming up and getting started. And so what you want to learn to do is stop having like really successful people's early game goals as your late game. Have like extremely advanced long-term goals and then see your little ounces of progress towards that goal as what they are, just little ounces of progress. If you start making 10K a month and you think that's you being successful, then you're not going to work anymore. But if your goal is to make $100 million in a year or to build a massive company or to build huge infrastructure, then those little goals, they pale in comparison. And when you hit them, you won't have this motivation decline or this motivation drop that most people do when they hit their first goal. Next thing is only hire people you like. Okay, one of the most important things in your business and in your career, whatever it is you're trying to work on, I'm assuming it's probably a business here, is only work with people you like. Because one thing that makes things very addictive and one thing that makes you want to keep coming back to doing the same thing over and over again is the kind of people that you work with, okay? And so this is why, for example, I've got a product called High Ticket Heaven, which is a collection of basically like 100 founders in the info and agency game, and we get loads of applications for them, but we turn down a lot of people. Like it's a high ticket thing. We do in-person events, coaching, etc. And that's not a pitch, by the way, but the point I'm making here is I am very selective of who we take on. So there are people who have applied for that, who throw their Amex at us, but we don't take on because we don't like them. Or we don't want them to be part of the group. And so for me, one thing that makes work really addictive is knowing that whenever I open my emails or my Slack or my school group or whatever it is, I'm being greeted by and I'm talking to people I actually enjoy engaging with. It makes it insanely addictive. You want to hire people that make you feel good, make you want to be there, and basically create a culture in your team and also in your client base and your coaches and whatever sort of business infrastructures or team structures you have that make you want to be there. It's kind of like think of it like if you were trying to like play a sport or something and you were like trying to learn how to play golf and you had a golf buddy, and that golf buddy, you got along with him so well, and all you wanted to do sometimes was not even play golf with him, but just hang out with him instead. If you can create that culture in your company, not only for yourself, for your team, but for your clients, for coaching calls, whatever it is that you have, your support team, you're going to want to be there. Next thing is only use tools that you like as well. So one thing that can really cause people lots of stress and lots of trouble at work is using tools and using softwares and using screen setups and desk setups that you don't like. That's really all there is to that point. And one thing I found that makes work incredibly addictive for me is mechanical keyboards, gaming mice, big like a sick monitor, having like all the best camera equipment, the mic equipment, like being able to make really good content and do really good work, and being in an office, an environment that makes that conducive. Next point is make your office the most comfortable or inviting room in your home. I'm not saying that you should make your other rooms uninviting, but I'm saying that you want to create an office space that makes you want to be there. Like I love being in my office. I even know that it's not big, it's just like this little square. And it's not huge. Like I've got some nice wooden panels, I've got the air conditioning, I've got my light, I've got my setup, I've got my standing desk, my chair's really comfortable, I've got some of my favorite artwork on the wall with my whiteboards for ideas. Like I've constructed this office to be somewhere I want to be. And what that does is it makes me, I wouldn't say that's the sort of main root of the addiction, but it definitely helps. And so if you do all of those things, if you redirect all your addictions into the work and you redirect your impulses to commercial productivity, and you have a massive vision, you only work with people you like, you only use tools that you like, and you create an environment that you like, all of those things in unison combined make it very, very easy to develop a work ethic. The main one is the sort of transmutation of those addictions. If you can learn to do that, you're going to crush. But I can tell you as well that what will happen after probably like 5 years, and that feels like a long time, but trust me, you're going to be around probably like 60, 70 more years, right? So after 5 years, if you just do this every day and you get into the habit of working really hard and just, like for me, I wake up and I'm at my desk within 10 minutes and I'm at my desk basically until I go to sleep. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. When you do that, at first it's horrible, it sucks, it's exhausting, but over time you'll develop this identity with it and you'll just want to work all the time. And so yeah, that's just a quick video on how to develop a work addiction. Use it wisely.